I'm Thomas Witherspoon of Asheville, North Carolina, and you're tuned to the International Radio Report, 30 minutes of news about radio on CKUT 90.3 FM in Montreal.
Welcome, everybody, to the International Radio Report for Sunday, November the 26th. My name's Sheldon. Gilles is our co-host. We thank you for tuning in to our show. We're here every Sunday morning at 10:30 Eastern Time, and that is 15:30 UTC. You can reach us by email, radioreport@yahoo.com. We are live streaming and archived at ckut.ca. That is the website for CKUT FM 90.3 here in the city of Montreal. Our Facebook group, International Radio Report, we invite you to join it. It has 948 members. Our YouTube channel is available to you, where you can find the most current show and previous editions of the program. We have 903 subscribers there, and just look for @IRR on YouTube, or just search for International Radio Report, and you'll find all of our shows listed there. Our X account, chipping away at it, 36 followers now. You find us at IRRCKUT. So we have a bit of a special show this week. Not a lot going on, I guess, particularly in the States. U.S. Thanksgiving. There's not a whole lot of the newsletters that we generally get each week being sent out over the last couple days. And stations are getting into that Christmas mode. We did hear that one station south of the border from us in Burlington, 92.9, has switched already over to all Christmas music. So that's happening in many cities. So, as I said, this week, we don't have a lot of news going on in the radio world, so we thought we'd take a little bit of time today and tell you about some of the clubs and radio-related resources that are available to you out there. So we thought we'd tell you about some of the groups that exist out there and some of the resources that can help you find stations and frequencies and QSL information and technical data, whatever. So we'll run through some radio clubs first, and then give you some websites where you can get additional information, particularly on shortwave. We'll put links up to all of the radio clubs and all of the resources on our Facebook group, so you'll want to check that out. So we start close to home, and we have our own Canadian International DX Club, known as CIDX. CIDXclub.ca is the website. We are a not-for-profit volunteer staffed organization serving members in the radio monitoring community since 1962. The club was officially formed in Winnipeg back in 62, moved to Edmonton. We have two offices, or two head offices, Montreal and Sherwood Park, Alberta. Membership is open to everyone worldwide. Not just Canadians, even though it has Canadian in the name. It's a general coverage radio club, which means it covers everything. We have a wide variety of columns and topics, including AM, FM, shortwave, utilities. The utility column is a column that Gilles takes care of himself. He's the editor of that column. QSLing, ham radio, pirate radio, podcasting, technical and propagation information, news, station schedules, resources, and much more. You can get a free sample of our electronic bulletin. It's only available electronically. You can write to email sample@cidxclub.ca. Our membership dues are really affordable, $10 a year Canadian, or 3 years for $25 Canadian if you're in Canada, $10 US or 25 for 1 year, or $25 US for 3 years if you're in the US, and internationally, $10 US or Canadian for 1 year, and $25 US or Canadian for 3 years. The bulletin is quite large every month, anywhere 60 to 90 pages of information, updated every month. Lots of interesting topics, articles, newspaper clippings, you name it, lots of information. So we invite you to check out the Canadian International DX Club.
And there's also the NASWA, or the North American Shortwave Association. It was headquartered in the Canadian town of Heart's Content, Newfoundland in 1961, home to the founding president Sterling D. Pike. Absolutely nothing is now known about Pike, who seemingly had resigned from any club leadership position by the fourth issue of the bulletin. The club has been active, sharing information about shortwave radio since 1961, focusing on domestic and international broadcasts on shortwave frequencies between 2 and 30 megahertz. Now headquartered in Allentown, Pennsylvania, the club serves both shortwave listeners and DXers. They also sponsor the popular yearly Winter Shortwave Festival, or the SWL Fest. The club motto is Unity and Friendship. NASWA members receive the journal, a monthly digest of the latest logs and news about shortwave radio, as well as various feature articles and columns. Samples of the column from the journal are available. Members can also subscribe to a weekly email DX tip sheet, flash sheet, for no additional charge. The journal is available in both printed and digital form and PDF. So membership, United States first class mail, $32 US. Canada first class mail, $39 US. Overseas, US airmail, it's $54 US. And the electronic journal, the PDF emailed, is US $15.
Yeah, that's a club that's been around a long time. As Gilles said, they really only focus on shortwave, though. It's not a general coverage radio club. So if shortwave and DXing of the shortwave bands is of interest to you, NASWA might be an interesting thing to take a look at. Now we get into two different clubs that specialize in medium wave. The first, the National Radio Club, nationalradioclub.org, is a U.S.-based radio club, and it is the world's oldest and largest medium wave DX club, founded in 1933. Wayne Heinen is the chairman. He's located in Aurora, Colorado. The club magazine, called DX News, is a must for the serious or casual medium wave DXer. Subscribing to the DX News printed magazine or the eDX News email delivery version entitles you to membership privileges, including discounted prices on many of the National Radio Club products. DX News offers 20 bulletins per year, bi-weekly in the winter, monthly in the summer, and contains over 750 pages a year of AM or medium wave DX and radio information. You may download a free sample copy of DX News on their webpage under the Download tab, and you'll receive a PDF copy of the eDX News. The NRC archives feature most of the past publications of DX News and the DX audio service, which they offer. There are many special historical sections that detail activities from the heyday of broadcast band DXing. They also publish a really great book called the AM Radio Log, which lists all of the North American AM radio stations with all of the details about each of them. Really reliable source of information on medium wave stations. Membership rates to U.S. addresses, it is $45 a year. To Canadian addresses, $55 a year, and to all other countries, $70 per year. You can get the online membership of eDX News for $15 per year. And if you subscribe to one of the printed versions, you add on an extra $5, and they give you both the printed and electronic versions combined. So again, check out nationalradioclub.org for information.
In a similar type of club, the International Radio Club of America, IRCA, which you can get at ircaonline.org. The International Radio Club of America, a U.S.-based organization headquartered in Lafayette, Louisiana, is devoted to the hobby of hearing distant stations on the AM broadcast band from 510 to 1720 kilohertz. DX Monitor, the official publication of the IRCA, is published 35 times a year, weekly from October to March, twice in September and April, and monthly from May to August. DX Monitor contains members' loggings, articles on radio stations, receiver reviews, technical articles, DX tips, and other material of interest to broadcast band DX hobbyists. A sample copy is available through the webpage. Membership dues, the DX Monitor electronic version, $5 for the first year worldwide, and no charge for subsequent years. So basically it's $5 and you get a lifetime membership.
Next, we go to a really specialized club. It's called the Longwave Club of America, LWCA. and you can find them at LWCA.net. Longwave Club of America was organized in January of 1974 to promote monitoring and experimentation on frequencies below the AM broadcast band. Such activities have come to include hearing and identifying navigational beacons, recording and analyzing natural radio transmissions at very low frequencies, transmitting under low power rules in the 1750 meter band, and secondarily on other frequencies where such Part 15 experimentation is also permitted. They also advocate for amateur radio use in the long-wave spectrum. The club is based in Bloomfield, New York. It's a nonprofit organization, and dues are charged only to cover publication of the club bulletin, mailing, promotional, and bookkeeping costs. The publication is called The Lowdown. The membership dues depend on your location and your preferred format for receiving the publication, print versus electronic. The print edition, US $27 for US members. In Canada and Mexico, it is $30 US, and internationally, US $39 per year. There is no charge for members who prefer the physical print edition as well as the electronic edition. For the PDF electronic version only, the cost is $15 per year anywhere in the world. So you have a choice there of getting both or one or the other. And very interesting publication. A lot of things people don't think there's much going on the long wave portion of the spectrum, but there's some really unique things that happen down there in the low range frequencies. So you might want to check that out. You can get a sample of their bulletin through their website, lwca.net. And I'll mention quickly two other regional clubs. There are some other clubs out there, maybe not as well known. Two that, one that just celebrated a big anniversary actually was the Minnesota DX Club. It's more of a regional area club for sort of the northern Midwestern states. And they're at mdxc.link. And the Michigan Area Radio Enthusiasts, or MARE, and you can find them at mare.radio.tripod.com.
So what's happening with our sun? Well, the sun has woken up this week, and in a big, big way. The number of sunspots has increased. There are a few sunspots like 3490 and 3500 that have all that is needed for X-class solar flares, some of the biggest flares around. The, of course, increase in sunspots means that the sunspot number is 176, and the solar flux, I told you last week, it was the lowest I've seen in a long time last week at 118. Well, this week it's 194 as we're recording, so it's a big increase. And so that also means that there will be a lot of disturbances in our listening, but also a lot of great DX to have through all of this. If you want to witness all of this, well, you got to turn on a radio and listen.
I'm David Bachner of Guelph, Ontario, and I get my weekly radio news on the International Radio Report on CKUT 90.3 FM in Montreal.
We will now switch over to a list of resources, particularly for shortwave listeners. These will be places that you can go on the internet to help you track down shortwave station frequencies, the times of the broadcasts, languages that they use, target areas, transmitter sites. Not all shortwave stations broadcast from their own country. Many use relay transmitters in other parts of the world, particularly to reach certain target areas. So trying to keep on top of all of this is tricky. It's not like listening to your favorite AM or FM station that is always there on the same frequency. Some days you'll hear things very clearly where they're supposed to be. Other days you might not hear anything at all, depending on how bad the propagation is affected by solar activity. So we thought we'd give you some examples of some of the places you can find on the internet that will help you navigate the international shortwave bands. So we'll start with a personal site that's put together by actually a member of CIDX, Alan Rowe in Teddington in the UK. And he posts this regularly as well through Glenn Hauser's World of Radio. It's called Alan Rowe's Hit List. And we'll put up the link to it. It links to selected international and national radio station web pages. And it's created and updated regularly by Alan. You can find it very useful if you don't even know what stations are out there and you want to find a listing of them, and go to their web pages, learn more about them. Alan's hit list is a great place to go. And as I said, he keeps it really up to date. He's just released the brand new hit list in the last day or two. So you'll want to go and check that out. And we thank Alan for all the work that he does in putting that together. Next is one that I know both of us use this one quite a bit. It's the EIBI Space, which you can find at eibispace.de. This site offers a comprehensive, updated listing of shortwave broadcasts in two different formats. One list is sorted by UTC time, and the second list is sorted by frequency. The list sorted by frequency actually includes long wave, overseas medium wave, and utility stations, in addition to shortwave broadcast stations. This one gets updated quite regularly. When a lot of frequencies change, they do tend to get the information into the listings quite quickly. Something that doesn't happen with all of the sites. So you want to try and stay up to date. This is a problem when you're getting into shortwave. You can get very frustrated very quickly with stations that move around. You find them and then suddenly they're not there anymore, and they broadcast at different times on different frequencies. So this is a good general reference that you can use. You hear something on a frequency, you're not sure what it is, go to the frequency database and take a look, and they'll show you what should be on there at what times and what have you. So a really good source of information.
And EIBI Space is one of the most accurate of all the lists I've noticed over time. There's the HFCC Public Day Schedule Data. The HFCC is a non-governmental, non-profit association and a sector member of the International Telecommunication Union in Geneva in the category of international and regional organizations. It manages and coordinates global databases of international shortwave broadcasting in keeping with international radio regulations of the ITU. The HFCC Global Database is exceptional in that it is updated online. Individual schedules are sorted either by broadcaster or by frequency management organizations, and these schedules are now freely available on the website. This is actually a place we often go to at the start of every schedule season because it's pretty much one of the only lists we know that is accurate enough. All the shortwave broadcasters, most shortwave broadcasters actually register with them. There's exceptions to the rule, like Cuba, for example. And that's to make sure that they don't clash, they don't interfere with each other. It is a great database that's updated pretty much daily. I noticed that every day they have little changes here and there, which is what shortwave is all about. There's a lot of changes happening all the time, so it's not for the faint of heart. It is lists and abbreviations of all sorts. And to make it worse is that on the IBI Space, you got abbreviations that go with the station name and its country of broadcasting. HFCC often has the name of the organization behind the transmitters.
Yeah, I think HFCC, it is, as it says, it's the international organization. So I think this website for hobbyists to be using it's not what it's initially intended for. This is more the business side of shortwave, where stations apply to broadcast and where they get their permissions and what have you. So it's kind of us piggybacking a little bit on the professionals here to use the data that they assemble for our purposes as well. The next one is called shortwave.info. And that's where you'll find it, short-wave.info. It offers a simple way in which to interrogate a database of all the shortwave broadcasts being transmitted by the majority of the world's international radio stations. There are several ways in which this vast database of frequencies can be queried. You can select a language and/or a particular broadcaster, or you can select a specific frequency, or you can select a specific shortwave band. In all cases, the sophisticated search software will return a series of results, unless, that is, there were no results matching your query. This software is designed to allow listeners to quickly find the frequencies to which to tune, as well as permitting stations being received to be easily identified. Note, you can click on any frequency, language, transmitter site, or broadcaster shown in the results of a search to begin a new search. It also produces a map, which includes the gray line, which will appear with transmitter and station spots indicated on the map. This is really handy because you see the daytime versus nighttime. And if you're looking for a full nighttime path from your listening point to a station you're trying to hear, it'll show you visually on that map where the gray line is, who's in darkness and who's in daylight at any point in time. So I kind of like this one myself. It's kind of easy to manipulate, and you can search in a lot of quick, different ways. It's not always accurate, though. There are several times where you put something in, you're hearing something on a frequency, and it comes back with no results. So obviously there's something that hasn't got into this website yet when that sort of thing happens.
It is probably the most popular website because it is easy to use and easy to understand for most people.
I think that's important to point out, too, to people that are getting into shortwave and even people that have been at it a long time. Don't take for granted that the information you're seeing online is accurate. Use it as a guide. As there's a good possibility it's correct, but listen to the station again and try to identify it either by the content, by the language, maybe an interval signal, or a straight out station ID announced on the air. Just to confirm that what you saw on the list is what you're actually listening to.
Yeah, and don't take for granted that because you know everything, that it's accurate. This week I got corrected as I was posting a video of NHK Radio Japan from Madagascar in French, and somebody came back and said, just to let you know that this year for the first time they're transmitting from France, not Madagascar. And I'm like, oops, I didn't check because I was just used to the fact that it was always from Madagascar. So you got to be careful.
I don't think anybody's 100% accurate when it comes to shortwave listening. There's always so many changes and so many things that kind of pop up out of nowhere. There's a lot of clandestine stations and things like that just kind of surface, and those stations aren't registered for the most part with the HFCC or things like that. So there's a lot of anomalies that'll jump out at you from time to time.
And there's the shortwaveschedules.com, shortwaveschedule.com. How to use the site. This is a database conversion to allow easy browsing of AOKI or AOKI's excellent BI newsletter shortwave transmission database, helping you find quickly and easily the broadcast schedule of any shortwave transmission. In addition, it shows the technical details for the transmitter, including geographic location, transmitting power, and the distance from your current location. So it is actually very accurate and will often contain little things that even the regular schedule sites we have don't have. So it's kind of interesting to check that out.
Yeah, so you can see there's a lot of sites out there, a lot of information. You can check a couple of them sometimes if you're not really sure and see if things line up with all the different sites, then there's a good chance that this is accurate if it pops up in numerous different locations. I think what you learn from all of this is that shortwave can get tricky, can get complicated, can get frustrating, particularly when the schedules change twice a year. That really messes things up. So it's not for the faint of heart. Be patient with it. Use the resources that are out there. Join one or more of the radio clubs that are out there that will also give you a lot of information. Many of those clubs have Facebook groups as well. Some of them have regular meetings online. Some have local meetings in your area. So lots of different ways to help you track down what's going on out there on the radio spectrum. And Jill, we want to talk about something that you do. We talk about it from time to time, but it's your YouTube channel, which is a great resource for anyone with an interest in radio, shortwave, DXing, radio equipment, what have you.
Yep, youtube.com/@official SWL channel. It's a channel that I started in 2012. It has a lot of information from videos that explain shortwave in the easiest way possible that it is to explain shortwave. There's radio reviews of all sorts and new radio reviews all the time. There's a lot of videos of, explaining what you hear or tuning the bands, explaining each signal, what you're listening to. It's a mix of pretty much everything that somebody should or would like to know about shortwave radio, and new videos are there all the time. I was surprised to see that I'm at 7,512 videos this week.
Wow.
So that's a lot of videos for shortwave. And we have a live show also on the YouTube channel every month, the first Saturday of each month, where we just exchange and share information about shortwave radio.
I think pretty impressed with the number of views that you have on that channel. It's just quite remarkable.
Yeah, we're at something like 14 million, 15 million views, and I'm almost at 50,000 subscribers coming in 2024. We'll reach 50,000 subscribers, which is pretty good for a shortwave radio channel.
One of the group of videos that I like to see is when you're actually hearing something interesting on the radio, you'll actually record it and have the radio showing on the screen, and people can actually listen to what you were listening to. I think that's really neat. That should really whet some people's appetite. I think that, when they can hear like, wow, this guy's hearing this thing, maybe I can hear it too.
Yep.
And so I like that sort of thing as well. So given all of that information, I mean, we go back to when we started with shortwave listening, and we didn't have half of this stuff out there. We had some of the radio clubs, and there is a commercial magazine out there called Spectrum Monitor, which you can subscribe to as well. It does give you some information as well. We do encourage you, if you really want to get into this more and get more out of the hobby, to use these different resources. Use Gilles' YouTube channel to help you choose a radio if you're just thinking of getting started. It's a great place to see radio reviews and see what's out there, what's good value for the dollar, what isn't good value for your dollar, because there is a lot of equipment out there, some good, some bad. Also antennas that are important. But we hope some of this information is helpful to you. Go and check them all out. We'll put up all of the links to all of this for you on our Facebook group, and they'll also be attached in the YouTube video of the show.
So there's upcoming ham radio contests.
We have 3 ham radio contests coming up next weekend, which we hope you'll check out. The first is the ARRL's 160 meter band contest. This is a CW contest, though. 2200 Zulu December 1st to 1600 Zulu December the 3rd. That's organized by the American Radio Relay League, and it's for amateurs worldwide to exchange contacts and information with American and Canadian amateurs on the 160 meter band, which is always a challenge. It is a CW contest only.
There's a Pro CW contest, 1200 Zulu December 2nd to 1159 Zulu December 3rd, organized by the Pro CW Contest Club of Romania. Bands 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10 meters, and it is CW.
And finally, if you're into digital ham radio, the FT Roundup, 1800 Zulu December 2nd to 2359 Zulu December the 3rd. It's organized by rttycontesting.com. The objective is for amateurs worldwide to contact and exchange QSO information with other amateurs using modes FT4 or FT8. So the bands are going to be crowded with this contest. The bands 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10 meters. So give that a shot if you're into FT4 or FT8.
And we are out of time.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in today. I hope you found this topic interesting today, a little bit different than what we normally do on the show. Hopefully we'll have some regular news for you next week. We'll be getting into December, and we'll have some holiday programming previews coming up. We've already received info on a couple things coming up for the Christmas period, so we'll start getting those lined up for you. Thanks for tuning in today. We'll talk to you again next Sunday morning on the International Radio Report on CKUT 90.3 FM in Montreal. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye-bye.
It's 8 o'clock. You're listening to AFAN, McMurdo Station, Antarctica. Heard locally on 100.1 FM and over the rest of Antarctica on shortwave 6012 kilohertz.